In this Upskill session 4, we are going to talk about a very important skill set, retention. Usually students will not realize this, but retention, popularly known as revision, is responsible for your 33% of score in the JEE Mains, Advanced or NEET exam. Now let us understand what does retention means. So the first question is, why should we revise? Because this is how students understand it in more familiar language, that why should you revise? Now the answer to this question is very simple but not completely understood in terms of its gravity by most of the students, because they will understand that okay sir, revision, we need to do it, but then I don't want to do it, because they somehow understand it is important, but how important is it, that they don't understand. Now I will try and spend some minutes on taking you to this journey of why and how much it is important. So if I look into this idea, you can see that your JEE syllabus will consist of 90 topics. NEET will approximately be also the same. The time spent between first topic and the last topic is usually 15 months. If you are doing a 2-year program, and somewhere around 9 months if you are doing a 1-year program. You can see that something that I done 9 months back or 15 months back, how much of that I would be able to remember? That is an important question to be answered here. Now whatever is your net knowledge at any point of time. Now net knowledge would mean what I know and what I am forgetting every time, will be nothing but your knowledge that will give you marks. So you can see that new content you are learning and old you are continuously forgetting. So what is happening is your performance is getting stagnated. You will see that your numbers will stop increasing after a certain point of time, and one of the primary reasons behind that is nothing but you are forgetting your old content. So once we have established this idea that why it is so important for any aspirant, now let us understand this key difference between these two ideas, because most of the students think that we should revise, but what I want you to do is basically retain. So what is the difference between revision and retention as a concept? Now if I go deeper, understand that one of them is an action. So we revise, revision is an action, and retention is an outcome. So what you are doing is revision, what you want is basically retention. If it can be done without revising, that is also fine. Most of the people will be very happy doing that, in fact. So now if I take it more deeper, what is happening is when you are revising, you are taking a notebook or short notes or something, and then you are continuously pushing that data from outside to inside your brain. That is what you are fundamentally doing. But when you are writing the exam, you can see that this process becomes reverse. What happens in an actual exam is you are trying to pull things out, and that is how your exam is fundamentally different from what you are doing. Understand that there are two kinds of action, push and pull. So when you are doing revision, you are pushing it in, but when you are writing the exam, you will have to pull that content out. And now what you are doing is the current way that most of the people revise, they will be very good in pushing things in if they are doing it again. But most of the people are very bad in pulling things out because they have never practiced it. None of their processes that they follow focuses on pulling content out of their brain. And that is where they will find that revision as an exercise or as a whole is not very effective. So subconsciously, they will have this tendency to avoid it. And as a result, they will not want to do it. So you can see that whatever you are avoiding, subconsciously you think that that is not very important for your existence, and hence you are avoiding it. So if you understand this difference, that if I can orient this whole exercise, this action towards the exam, that is the skill of pulling things out, I will find revision very interesting, and that will actually lead to retention. Now once we have done this, now here I am going to talk about 3 techniques. In fact, I will make it 4. I will also give you something regarding a 4th technique. So I will tell you here 4 techniques. The first technique is nothing but mind maps. Second technique that we are going to talk about is nothing but short notes or compendium. And third technique that we are going to talk about is nothing but recalling. Now, we will work towards the top of this pyramid from bottom, so that you will see that all of this technique will work together as a system towards the end. So I will give you a system of retention that if you actually follow, you will develop photographic memory. So wait till the end to understand how a student can develop photographic memory using these techniques. Now if I start with the first one, a very simple question, try remembering a movie that you saw 10 years ago. It could be any movie, a cartoon movie, something. Pause this video for 30 seconds, take a break for 30 seconds and think about a movie that you saw 10 years ago or very long amount of time. Now try and remember what you exactly remember. So you will remember a rough storyline. You will remember certain names of some characters, and some characters you won't even remember also. You might have some flashbacks of something, some image or some scene that made a lot of impact on you when you saw that movie, if you actually liked it. So you can see that there are few things that we are able to recall and there are few things that we are not able to recall. So what is the pattern in this is basically, this gives insight into how human brain is storing information for long amount of time. If you are somehow able to align what we want to do with the process, the way the brain works, you will see that you will have a high efficiency in remembering things. Now for this, there is this technique of mind map. So what I have done is I have drawn a mind map. But before I talk about this mind map, let us understand what we are doing it. So see, now if I come back to this, what mind is trying to understand or remember is basically rough ideas. So you can see that it is not trying to remember the details in the long run, rough ideas. So what happens is in brain or in real life also, if you want to organize something, you will want to have a shelf into places in which there are proper place to be for everything to be placed. So here you will want to place books. Here you will want to place, let us say, stationery. Here you will want to place, let us say, that your clothes. So you can see that once you have a place for keeping everything, if I want to find it, it will be easier to find. So that is exactly what we are doing when we are applying this first technique of mind map. What we are doing is we are taking one important ideas and we are doing a macro arrangement of those ideas. We are taking important ideas and in a very rough, in a micro manner, we are arranging it. So if I do it for circle, this is how it looks like. It is looking a very long and exhaustive thing because this is an actual mind map of circles. So you can see that there are 5 major heads here. First we will start with equation, then we will slowly go towards interaction of point and circle, then line and circle, then circle and circle. So largely speaking, whatever I am doing in this chapter has only these 4 parts. Now if I go into this 4, there will be 2-3 more connections. Like equations can be standard, parametric, and different forms of equations can be there. Interaction of point with circle could be 2 types, location, position. You can see that we can further detail into 2-3 more ideas. But this is how things are getting connected in your brain. So if I can make one such map, in fact, Practise has gone one step ahead and developed this map for every topic for JEE preparation and NEET preparation. It will become very easy if you refer those mind maps. But the idea is that you should develop it. Why I am asking you to develop it? Because if you start developing a map like this, you have a very good understanding how things are connecting with each other. You will know what are the connections that the topic is trying to make. So when you try and make it through a question, it will become very easy for you. So my suggestion is again very simple. What I am trying to suggest you here is learn how to make this mind map. Now what is the technique behind it? So when we are making a mind map, we are doing a macro analysis. You can see that while doing this, I have not even at a single place, I have written any formula or any equation. So I am not doing a very micro analysis that this is the equation, 10 different equations I have written at different places. No, nothing like that. I am trying to make a shelf first where I am going to store the information. So you can see that this is a macro analysis, wherein if I go deeper, what I am doing is I am writing skeleton of a topic. That would mean if it is a circle, then what are the important heads in it? So I started with equation, then I moved towards point, then I moved toward line, and then circle and circle are getting interacted with each other. You can see that there is a skeleton into place. Okay? Now you can see that I am only doing outline. I am not writing. Now here also I will go further and detail it, like how many kinds of equation could be there. So I can go further and write it down there. Okay, standard equation can be there. Other forms of equation can be there. But see, I am not mentioning the equations. I am just giving an outline of the idea. So if I understand what is kept where in my mind. That is the whole idea. So this is a shelf that we are trying to develop in this situation. Now whatever is more important will be closer to the core. Here 4 important points were equation, point, line and circle. You can see that these 4 ideas are very close to the central idea. Then probably there is another idea, but it is far away from this. So if I look into this idea, you can see this is far away. So in my cycle also it is far away. So I am also understanding relative importance in terms of those shelves, how those shelves are getting arranged ultimately and how they are connecting with other shelves. And more importantly, now I am not using straight lines to do it because I want to model human thought. That is based on neurons. So neurons are never straight, they will go curvy like this. So I want to imitate that idea, that how actually a brain looks like. Like that I have tried and made those connections. Again, if you go to this mind map, what you will find, let us again revisit it. So if I revisit it, you will see that these are the core ideas. In these core ideas, there are further subdivisions, and whatever is the distance from the central idea shows that basically in the difference or the distance in terms of conceptually how far it is. So it is a very well organized diagram. I am writing everything, yet I am not going into the details. That is the importance of it. Now once you have done this technique of mind map, you have developed a mind map. The next idea would be using this mind map to develop something known as compendium. Now compendium is nothing but a technique of making short notes. Okay, so let us understand this technique. Let us come back to it. So now this is how a compendium looks like. So what we have done is basically we have tried and summarized our topic in a single page. Now in order to do that, what we will do is we will take a blank sheet of paper. Now this is very important that the sheet needs to be blank. You do not need to make it in copies. I will say that again and again. Still the students will make it in copies. So I am again telling that do not do it in copies. Take a blank sheet of paper. Fold it in between. You can fold it in 2 parts, 3 parts, whatever is more comfortable to you. And 2 is fine, 3 is better. Because most people will not want to write things in a very concise manner. Let us understand what I am trying to do, then I will make you understand what is the logic behind it. So now what you can do is once you have done this, you have got 4 parts of this paper. 1, 2, 3 and 4. There are 4 parts of this paper. So what is the importance of doing this? Now you will put a title here, and like I have done here. So I have put a title here, circle. So once I put a title, I will start writing all the points from my notebook. So now I will take my notebook, but I am not going to write anything descriptive. I am only going to write keywords, important formulas, third, what I am going to do is I am going to draw some diagram. And fourth, I am going to also draw some algorithm wherever required. So you can see that in this mind map, what I have done is basically I have written all the important keywords. It might not be very clear to you because it is a very expanded version of 1 page. But you understand that if I start from here, I am going to write point number 1, only write keywords. So if I want to write what is a circle, what I will do is I will just mention that locus of point says that distance from a fixed point is constant. Okay, so I can now remove all the unimportant things. I can just write fixed distance from fixed point constant. Instead of saying the whole thing that locus of a point says that distance from all fixed point is constant, I will write in first point locus distance from fixed point constant. So you can see that it is not the perfect English, but it is a concise way of writing. So once you write down all your important points, now let us see that there was some formula or equation. So that also you will note it down here in one of the points. You can see that I have divided this page into two parts by putting a dotted line. But if you do it like this, fold it like this, it will act as a dotted line. No need to make it. Then you can see that I have also drawn relevant diagrams in here. Then what you can see here is basically wherever required, I have also mentioned how to solve problems, like here, and how to solve problems of radical axis. I have mentioned it here. You can see that whatever was there in my notebook, I took my notebook and wrote down all the important points starting from definition. Everything I noted it down from 1, 2, 3, 4. If you write on one side, you can see that I have written somewhere around 10 points on one side. Again, so you can see that front and back I can write 40 important points, and largely speaking more than 40 to 50 important points they are not there in a chapter. So what I am trying to tell you is, if I do it in this manner, taking a very clean ballpoint pen that will not get smudge in the long run, you can take some other pen also that will not get smudge, it is totally fine. But write only keywords, formulas, diagrams and algorithms here. Do not be very descriptive in writing, then you can summarize a chapter in one page. This technique of making short notes is known as compendium technique. Now, what I am writing is keywords, formulas, algorithm, diagram, nothing descriptive, because if you start writing descriptive, it will become 25 pages or it will become a notebook, then it is not useful. Now, how am I going to use it? What is the logic behind it? See, when you have done it in this manner, what is happening is, every day I will take this compendium and I will start reading it. When I am reading it, there is a process of reading it. How you are going to read it? You are going to take a point, ball point or a point pen, and you can start like this. Move your eyesight with the dot of your pen. Go like this. What is the logic of doing this? See, what we are trying to do is basically, we are trying to develop a photographic memory of this page in our brain. Now understand it in this manner that in your JEE syllabus, you are going to do, let us say, 30 topics in math. We are going to do 30 topics in mathematics. And in these 30 topics, if I am able to reduce this into 30 pages, 30 topics reduced into 30 pages, if I revise, let us say that I am developing and I am revising. So first day, when I developed the first one, and I took 30 minutes to revise it. But I am revising the same content next day also. So second day, if I do it, it will not require 30 minutes, it will let us require 20 minutes. So every day it is reducing. By the time I reach the 7th day, you will realize that you are only taking 5 minutes to do it. Because every day you are going through the same content over and over again. Now by the 7th day, one more topic got added. Now this old will take 5 minutes and new will again take 20 minutes. But every time you are doing this exercise, every week, it is getting reduced to 5 minutes or 2 minutes. And ultimately what will happen is, it will come a time after a period of 1 month or so, you might be able to revise what you are doing in 30 minutes, in just 1 minute. Because it is the same paper that you are revising every day. Now if I am getting something new, I am again adding into the same paper only. And if it becomes very smudged and very complicated, rewrite it. That is the importance why I am asking you to make it in the paper, because if you make it in a copy, you cannot replace that paper. Now once you have done that, put 2 holes here and file it in a copy. Now make a folder and put it there, whatever way you are comfortable doing it. But the idea is that when it is becoming too much complicated, you should be able to rewrite it. And if you make the same paper and keep revising in this pattern, you are not going to take 1 minute. So if I have done 30 topics in this manner, I will not take more than 30 minutes to revise it. Assuming that there are total 90 topics in the syllabus. Now you see that if you follow this method, you can revise them in 90 minutes. So when I am going to write my JEE exam, every day I will not have more than 90 minutes to do revision. So this method will become effective in doing revision. So compendium method done in this manner, so not just making compendiums, following this cycle is also important. Every day doing it first thing in the morning, or first hour rule in the morning is very important. If you do it in this manner, you can do whole of your revision of whole JEE syllabus in 90 minutes, whole NEET syllabus in 90 minutes. Now if once I have done this, now there could be one more thing that I have not added here, I will add it here. That is nothing but problem survey. Now what is a problem survey? Now let us understand a problem survey. So this page you made, in that you have written a lot of theory, results, etc. But if I can make one more page in which I can write all the important problem types that were taught in the class, you can see that there will be in physics there will be less 5-10 techniques of solving problems. In mathematics it would be more 15-20 techniques of solving questions. So if I can make one page, especially in physics and mathematics, where I have written all those important questions and hint in 1 or 2 lines of all distinct questions. Distinct is an important word there. Distinct questions. I will have one more thing, problem survey into place, because most of the times you will not forget what was the concept. I am talking about the students who regularly prepare, write their exams, do their practice. Towards the end they will not forget what was the concept, but they will forget what were the problems that were solved and practiced in the class in that topic. So making a problem survey is a very good technique. So along with this short notes or compendium, if I add one more thing, problem survey, it becomes a bulletproof technique. Neither concept you will forget, neither problems you will forget. So this is the beautiful technique of doing revision. Follow this. Once you have done this, now comes the most important part, because till here what we are still doing is pushing content in. But I have already told you in the starting, this is not an effective strategy. You also know it. It does not work a lot, but it will serve its purpose. Now we are moving towards the idea where we learn how to pull it. So now what you can do is basically you can start recalling. What you can do is, whenever you are traveling, you are sitting for 5 minutes, take a piece of paper or page of a notebook, and what you can do is basically on that blank sheet of paper, start writing what you learnt. Start writing what you learnt in that short notes or compendium. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to recall the compendium. Now once you have written it, go back to the short notes and check how much of that you are actually able to remember. See, what you are able to remember is the information that you will actually be able to use it in the exam. Whatever you are not able to remember, that information nobody can use. Even you cannot use it. So check your notes and see what is the information that is missed out. Refill that information. Now you are understanding what is the gap in what I have learnt and what I am able to remember and implement. This gap, as narrow as it is, you will be able to do a lot in your exam by doing very less in terms of practice. Now this will become very critical. So this is the basically recalling technique. You will not require more than 5 minutes to do it, but will have a tremendous impact on your preparation, because most of the time this is something that students will never do. They will not put them into a testing situation where they are trying to understand, okay, chalo dekhte what I remember. That they will not do, and that is the primary gap here. Now once I do this, what will this enable is basically my recalling will become very good, and that short note now will become nothing but a photographic memory for me. That one page I will be able to remember, and in that one page I have summarized everything. In that one page of problem solver I have written all the important problems. So you can see that what is happening is, down the line if I want to do, let us say in the starting I will probably require for 6 topics 60 minutes, but down the line what I will require is nothing but 1 minute, and I can effectively use for this recalling process my travel time also. So it is not costing me much in terms of time. Okay. So 1 minute for writing it down, and probably 9 minutes for going through the short notes and recorrecting it. That is what it requires for revising 6 topics. So in 1 hour if I give, I will be able to do a lot. I am saying that you don't give more than 10 minutes. Even if you give 10 minutes, and this is a very beautiful activity and can be done in your travel time. If you are traveling for 1 hour, going from coaching, or let us say traveling from school to home, this is a very good way of utilizing your time. Now let us go towards a complete action plan, how it works out here. So what I have told you is basically, 1, why revision is important. Second, how it is different from retention. This is what we want to do. We will want to retain things. Third, how to retain things. So there are 2 parts of the process. One is push and another is nothing but pull. So in terms of push, I told you, first in order to push you need to organize it better. For organizing things better, we have mind map. Once we develop it in our own handwriting, the things will get organized in a much better way. Next is basically we will want to do the detailing in terms of short notes or compendium, and then we will develop problem survey and read them and revise them as often as possible, but all of them are fundamentally push techniques. Then I told you that if you do recalling of all of these things that we did earlier, it becomes a pull technique. Now, how should a day look like in terms of revision? Let us make a system around it. So if I make a system, how it should work out is, once the chapter is done, first make a mind map. Once you have done a mind map, using that you can easily develop compendium. Now first our rule should be there, first thing in the morning, revise all your compendiums and your problem surveys. Once you have done that, consistently over a period of time, it will not take more than 1 minute to do that one topic. So if I want to do 90 topics, it should not take more than 90 minutes. Recall as often as possible, because this will strengthen your ability to pull things out. And ultimately, this is the skill set that is going to matter. And whatever you forgot out of this compendiums, again go back and check it out. So now if you give this 1 hour in the morning, first hour of a day in the morning to do the push activity, and 5 to 10 minutes in the evening to do pull activity, largely you are set for all kind of recalling memory based thing that is there, and you will develop a photographic memory, because you will be exactly able to remember what I wrote in that short note. You will exactly able to remember what you did in your problem survey. I hope you enjoyed this session. We talked in detail about the push and pulls that are there in the retention journey. I hope you enjoyed it. In the next one, we are going to talk about a very important idea, that is testing. Why should we write tests? How to write tests? We'll go into deeper aspects of testing. It is going to be a very interesting session. So if you have been following this journey till now, I will highly recommend you that you go to that next video also and watch how to write tests, because that is where the things will become very real for you. See you until then. Bye.